All right, let's do some Mathity-Math. Looking at this question, it says solve for x. You must show each step of your process. Well, that's good. We should show our work, and we should be proud of our work, so why not show it off? Okay, so if we read this question, it says, I have 102x plus 120, and all of this, when combined, must be less than 70 plus 800x. Okay, so to solve this, we want to first isolate x and get x all by itself. So I'm going to leave this b for now, and I'm actually going to try and move this constant over. Okay, so if I move that constant over, I just think about the opposite. This says plus 120, so now I say minus 120. And as always, you do it to one side, you do it to the other. And because this is a constant, I'm going to hook it up with the other constant, and go from there. So these will cancel. And what we're going to be left with is 102x, okay, is less than 70 minus 120. So 70 minus 120, we're going to go negative on this one. We're going to get left with negative 50 plus 800x. Okay, that's step one. Step two, let's move this 800x over here to the other x. We can handle that. This is plus 800x, so I'm just going to do the opposite, minus 800x. Now, because we are balancing our inequality, I do the same thing to the other side, just like that. Subtract 800x from both sides. And again, we're going to go negative here because we have 102 and we're subtracting 800 from it. So 102 minus 800 actually gives us negative 698. So we have negative 698 is less than, and these canceled. Oops, my x. Oopsie. Negative 50. There we go. So I have negative 698. X is less than negative 50. So now I just need to get this x that I squeezed in there, get this x all by itself. So if I'm being multiplied by negative 698, I just divide by negative 698. And this is going to put you in the position to remember that if you divide both sides by negative, or if you multiply both sides by negative, you must flip the inequality. So what we get here is x is greater than, and we have negative 50 divided by 698. Okay, we could leave that as a fraction. We just need to simplify it. But let's toss into the old calculator and see what happens. So I got 50 divided by 698. I left the negatives off because it's going to be positive anyway. And we get 0.716332378. So we could round this down and estimate a decimal depending on what the question is asking for. I tend to lean toward just keeping them as nice exact fractions. So let's practice here. Let's practice simplifying this fraction because this is a really important skill that we need to work on. Okay. So we can tackle this a lot of ways. We can start the simplest way. We can say, well, what common factors do these have? Now, I really don't want to list out. Ooh, that's supposed to be positive. No, it's not negative, so they're both positive. Okay, sorry. So I really don't want to list out all the factors of 698 because there will be a lot. But I could do some quick thinking here and say, well, you know what? 50 is even and 698 is even. So I do know without a doubt they're both divisible by 2. So if I did my first round of simplifying, I could say, okay, well, 50 divided by 2 is 25. And 698, I got this calculated here, divided by 2 is 349. Okay, now we're getting a little bit closer to being done with this because 25 is a pretty easy number to test a couple quick factors. And if you think about it, 25, well, what are the factors of 25? We have 1 and 25, 2 doesn't work, 3 doesn't work, 4 doesn't work, and then we have 5 and 5. So in reality, there's only 2 numbers we could check to make sure. It's 5 and 25, okay? Well, if you multiply 5 by anything, it's always going to end in a 5 or a 0. So 5 won't work because that ends in a 9. And if you think about 25, 25 also always ends in a 5 or a 0, right? Because it goes 25, 50, 75, 100, 125. So long story short, because nothing ends in a 5 or a 0, this is it. This would be your answer. X must be greater than 25 over 349. And if you're worried that you simplified wrong, well, you can think about what you know about fractions, right? If 50 divided by 698 gave you 0.0716332378, if you did your math right, 25 divided by 349 should do the same. So you say 25 divided by 349, and look at that. You got the same thing. So you know you did a good job. And you can just leave your answer just like this. Good job. Okay, if you want more practice or be notified when I made more practice problems for you, go ahead and subscribe so you'll be notified for that. And if there's anything you want to see, anything extra you want to practice, any more different problems you need, you just leave me a comment below and I'll do my best to make it for you. Thank you. Bye.